Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a while. I am really sorry for the delay once again. Life has just been a little bit all over the place the last month or so, and in truth I just lost a lot of motivation to get anything done, including YouTube videos. I took a month off or so to recharge the batteries, and now I'm back with another Blazing Emerald challenge. Over a year ago I did a challenge run of Blazing Emerald using only regional forms, of which this game has many. Since then, a new version has been released that's added a handful of new regional forms, which means today's challenge then is to only use these newly added forms. The rules are pretty simple. I can only use the regional forms added in version 1.6. There's about 7 or 8 lines added, so I don't get too much selection here. No items in battle as always, and I'll be playing in set mode too. Not to mention I'll be putting level caps thanks to this game's hard mode. Full disclosure though, I did forget to turn these on until after the second gym. Zwigo and Bref, among other people, have done similar challenges in the last few months, so make sure to check out their videos if you haven't already. Fun fact, I actually recorded this run in August of last year, but I just haven't got round to posting it until now. Better late than never, huh? Before we get started, quick shout out goes to these people for finding Dee. Comment down below if you see him in this one and you might get featured next time. Alright, for the first time in a while, let's get this show on the road. I start the game naming my character Izumi. Like I said, I recorded this in August, so I genuinely can't remember what this is referencing. Please, let me know in the comments. For those of you who don't know, you get a huge variety of starters to choose from in this game. Most of these aren't regional forms, but there are a few to choose from, including regional forms of Solosis, Pawniard, Dreepy and Tynamo. Only Tynamo and Pawniard are newly added, so I choose Tynamo, who's a ground and electric type. This should be a solid start to the team. Let's move straight on to the first gym. Roxanne's team of rock types are no match for my ground type. Aeron and Geodude both faint to 1 magnitude, and her last Pokemon Mareanie, spoiler alert, goes down in just 2, winning us the first gym badge without any issues. I then arrive in Dewford, change the trendy saying, and then take on the second gym leader Blake. It was close, but we managed to make it through. Murkrow falls to a single spark, but Sneasel deals some massive damage to us with Pursuit before falling to a couple of rock tombs. Houndour's last but just falls to a single dig, winning us the second gym badge. Now we have 2 badges, we can actually get our next team member, Farfetch'd. Now I know what you're thinking, this isn't a regional form, but actually Farfetch has a regional evolution in this game, Malarkey. It's a fighting and flying type and has the ability Resolute, which is basically sturdy, allowing us to survive a hit on 1 HP. This should definitely be useful. Before facing Watson we need to face May, and she's easy as always. Pikachu is first, and while it does have Tail Glow, it doesn't get to hit us before being one-shot by a dig. We almost took out Clefairy with a Dig and Spark combo, but we get infatuated by Cute Charm, and then taken out before landing the final blow. Malarkey can finish it off with a Leaf Blade, and last up is Eevee, so a couple more Leaf Blades are all we need, and we win ourselves the fight. Watson's up next and was relatively straightforward. Tynamo deals with his first 2 Pokemon with a few digs, although due to its Intimidate I switch out to Malarkey once Luxio comes out. We do land 1 Leaf Blade, but we get paralysed, then brought down to 8 HP, and then fully paralysed and taken out. That was a stroke of bad luck. I send Tynamo back out once again though and finish it with a dig, and his final Pokemon is Magnezone, which is 4 times weak to ground. 1 dig sees to it no problem, and we win the 3rd badge. Now we have 3 badges, we can use Rock Smash outside of battle, which allows us to obtain our next team member, Mareanie. Ever since I saw Roxanne using one of these, I just knew I had to try it out. Rock Poison is a really unique type combo, and it has solid rock to boot. This thing is going to be my defensive powerhouse for sure. Also, while randomly fishing, I found a shiny Kabuto. Shame it isn't a regional variant, but no shiny left behind. Maxie's up next, and immediately Mareanie shows off its defensive prowess. It shrugs off hits from his first Pokemon Ursaring, and eventually takes it out with a few rock moves. We do fall to the burn damage though as Camarap comes out, but Tynamo can take it down with a couple of digs, even surviving a half power eruption. Typhlosion is last, and we can just get 1 last dig in for good measure before we fall to a double edge. We still have Malarkey, so 1 Drill Peck is enough to win us the fight, no questions asked. Normally I would skip straight to the next gym, but there's actually a new team member for us to catch, Maractus. I've always liked this thing, I even did a solo run with one over 2 years ago. In this game, it's a grass and fire type, another really unique type combo. It even has a new signature fire move that inflicts Leech Seed. This could be a really great addition to the team. Now we move on to Flannery. She leads with the Larvesta, who actually somehow lives a rock tomb, but only sets up a light screen, so falls the next turn as Camerupt comes out. I switch in Malarkey expecting a ground move, but she actually uses Eruption, bringing us down to 1 HP thanks to our ability. I can land a single drill peck before fainting, so I switch into Tynamo, and 2 digs are enough to feint it. Rapidash is next, and Marini is the perfect counter to this. We have Recover to keep us healthy, Poison Jab to poison it, and super effective rock moves to deal damage. We do get paralysed, but we still take it out no problem, and last up is the Fire Steel type Skarmory. I barely scratch it with an Accelerock before fainting to an Iron Head, and now I decide to send in our new Maractus. Kindle Seed not only does decent damage, but keeps us healthy as well. We get stalled out a little bit by Roost, but eventually we bring it down, and the 4th badge is rightfully ours. Before facing Norman, our team grows a little bit stronger. Marini evolves into Toxapex, and Tynamo finally evolves into Electric. Tynamo was really starting to fall behind. Now we face the normal gym, which starts in the best way possible. Malarkey one-shots his Linoon, Ursaring and Blissey all in one shot, but his penultimate Pokemon Exploud lives on a sliver of health and finishes us. Electric can finish it easily with a Spark, and last up is Slacking. I can land a single Bolt Blitz before being destroyed by a Facade, so once again I send in Maractus. We use Kindle Seed to get a Leech Seed on it, and that pretty much seals its fate. It can heal a little bit thanks to its ability, but ultimately it's not enough to save it. Maractus does fall to a Giga Impact eventually, but it's on low health anyway, and as Toxapex comes out, the Leech Seed just finishes it off for the win. So far so good. Continuing on, I found another shiny I can't use, and then we face off against May once again. This was a really straightforward fight though. Raichu falls to a single dig from Electric, and Espeon comes out hitting a massive Ice Beam. We just survived though and take it out with a Bolt Blitz, but we too fall to the recoil. Clefable is last, but a few Poison Jabs and an Accelerock are all we need from Toxapex to win us the fight. Let's face off against Winona now, shall we? Pelipper is first, but is 4 times weak to Spark, so easily faints, and next up is Tropius. I switch in Malarkey, who unfortunately gets put to sleep, but we just tank a Brave Bird and wake up in time to hit a Drill Peck, but it's actually not enough. We fall to an Energy Ball, so I send in Electric, and we can just finish it off from there. Next up is her own Malarkey, who one-shots us with a Sky Uppercut, so I send in Toxapex. We bring it down to low health, and then I take the opportunity to use a new move, Geosplinter. This is an interesting one. It acts like Protect, but actually swaps attack and defense, meaning that when we use it, we turn into a frail but incredibly strong physical attacker. Couple that with a priority Accelerock, and you have a scary sweeper on your hands. Malarkey goes down, and next up is Aerodactyl, who falls to a single Accelerock as well. Last up is Dodrio, and Accelerock does decent damage before we fall to a Rubble Rush, which actually does a ton of recoil. We're down to our last Pokemon Maractus, so things aren't looking too good, but even with her eating a Citrus Berry, we get a lucky crit Heat Wave to finish off the battle in style, earning us the 6th badge. Before moving on, I evolve Electric into Electros, amazing design by the way, and catch my final 2 team members. First off is a Fairy and Steel-type variant of Pawniard, which has the same ability as Malarkey. And last but certainly not least is a ghost flying form of Emolga. Probably my favourite new design overall. This should round out our team nicely. We then destroy Maxie once again, evolve Pawniard into Bisharp, and face the 7th gym leaders Tate and Liza. It's usually the case that they're the easiest gym in this game, and this was also the case this time. Emolga and Bisharp deal with the majority of her team by themselves, however Emolga does eventually fall to repeated attacks. I send in Maractus to replace it though, and from there we can dispatch of the remaining team members with ease. Just one more gym badge left to claim. Before that though, we have to face Archie. Maractus once again proves itself useful, taking out his Mightyena, Sharpedo and Dugong with ease, before finally falling to Feraligatr, but not before we bring it all the way down to the red. Emolga's pretty fast, so we can outspeed it, and finish off the fight with a Spectral Sap. Now we can finally face the 8th gym. Unlike in normal Emerald, the 8th gym is actually an Ice type. Once again, this is perfect for Maractus. We one-shot Glalie and Mamoswine with ease, but his Hoenn and Steelix is a specially defensive beast, and takes not 1 but 2 hits and gets burned, before making us faint. Malarkey can finish it off with a quad effective Sky Uppercut though, and we can almost bring down Walrein in one hit as well, but we live the freeze dry anyway and finish it off with another one. That's not all though, we can even land one last Drill Peck on Frostlass before fainting to a Blizzard. Emolga can outspeed and finish it off with ease, and now we're just down to his final Pokemon Weavile. We're faster than it somehow, and can land a super effective U-turn, which actually just almost straight up KOs it. I decide that our Fairy Steel-type Bisharp is definitely the best option here, and sure enough we can take 2 hits, and finish it off with an Iron Head for the win, earning us the 8th and final gym badge. Now let's face the Elite Four. Of course, we must first defeat Wally, but he wasn't too much of a threat either. Maractus beats Altaria one-on-one thanks to Smog of all things, which has been buffed to 65 base power I believe. But Roserade somehow lives a flamethrower, but we only get poisoned by Toxic, so I can take out with one more. Delcatty finally takes us out with an Uproar after we land a Kindle Seed, but Malarkey can finish off with a Sky Uppercut, and we can even bring Magnezone down to the red, while living a super effective hit thanks to our ability, and taking it down with another one. Gardevoir takes big damage from Drill Peck before taking us down, but Emolga can finish it off with a Spectral Sap, and his last Pokemon is Gallade. He sets up a Swords Dance as we fly up into the sky, but we just end up getting a critical hit before he can take us out. So we win the battle, and now we can finally face the Elite Four. Before that, we catch another shiny I can't use. Yep, that's 3. Anyway, let's take a look at the team. Honestly, this team is incredibly good. There's not a single bad member here. We've got some hard hitters like Electros and Malarkey, and some really interesting Pokemon like Maractus and Toxapex. This is one of my favourite challenge run teams I've ever had, but will it be enough to bring down the Elite Four? Well, let's find out. Phoebe's first and we both start with Emolga, but mine hits first as we exchange Spectral Saps. Eventually we're able to come out on top, and next up is Banette who burns us but also faints in 2 hits. We even heal up a lot of our HP in the process. Dusknoir's next, and somehow he avoids an ominous wind, I have no idea how, and hits an Ice Punch which takes us out after the burn damage. That is some BS. I send in the Electros whose Earthquake is doing less than half, which means he just survives 2, and fully heals up with rest. Eventually though we can bring it down with repeated hits, but her Gengar's next and outspeeds and finishes us. I'm going to speed through the next bit as it was a bit of a stall fest, but essentially Toxapex was able to tank some hits, before taking it out with a few Stone Surges, and we even come out on top against Kofagrigus thanks to Geosplinter turning us into a glass cannon. Last up is Lantern who just about takes in a Cell Rock before finally taking us out. Toxapex put in some work there. I can just send in Malarkey though, who can easily outspeed, and finish it off for the win. Pretty good start to the Elite Four challenge. Grass type Serena is next, but this was a complete sweep. 1 Swords Dance is all Malarkey needs to one-shot pretty much everything with either Drill Peck or Sky Uppercut. This match really couldn't have been easier. Fairy User Bead is next, and was a little bit more tricky. Wigglytuff is first, and Toxapex has Poison Jab, and a couple of those is easily enough to take it out. Azumarill is next, and this thing must not have huge power, as his Aqua Jet is hardly doing any damage to us. Once again, 2 Poison Jabs bring it down, but next up is Goulosal, who finally brings us down. I send in Bisharp as we have Iron Head, which does a decent chunk, but not enough to bring it down before we fall to a couple of hits. Malarkey just falls short with a Drill Peck as well, but his Dazzle Dust is pretty much just a Fairy type Super Fang, always dealing 50%. This means we can easily take it down with one more. Sylveon easily takes a Drill Peck and KOs in return, but Electros can come in and just easily finish it off with an Earthquake. His own Bisharp is next and survives an Earthquake before hitting a Play Rough, but his Citrus Berry is nowhere near enough to save him from another one, and now we're down to his final Pokemon Togekiss, who can't take a super effective overcharge. So we win the 3rd match of the Elite Four. Just one more left before the champ. Drake starts with Dragonite as I lead with Malarkey. I set up a Swords Dance as he flies up in the sky. I take the opportunity to use Sky Uppercut which hits airborne opponents, but it doesn't do too much thanks to multi-scale. We live on 1 HP thanks to our ability and can finish it off with a Drill Peck, and next up is Drasparath, who outspeeds us and takes us out. Thankfully he used Cloud Burst, so his special attack is lowered now, and his Dragon Pulse doesn't do much to Electros at all. We can then one-shot it in return with an Earthquake, and next up is Flygon. I'm expecting an Earthquake, so I switch into Emolga, and my prediction was correct. I go for Fly, but it doesn't really do too much, and we take big damage from a Stone Surge. I go for Spectral Sap for a bit more chip damage, but he actually ends up missing his next attack. This means I can actually land one more Fly to finish it off, and I can even hit Garchomp once before we get taken out. I was hoping that Bisharp's Play Rough could finish it off here, but he just hangs on in the red, meaning we can't bring it down before being hit twice for the knockout. I have a plan though, which is to use Geosplinter on Toxapex, and then try and sweep. We can finish off the Garchomp with a Cell Rock, but Salamence lowers our attack, so I need to be careful. I switch into Maractus to negate the Intimidate, but we don't even get to land a hit before falling to a couple of Outrages. I send Toxapex back in, and I decide not to use Geosplinter just yet, just so we can tank the last hit of Outrage first. He then gets confused, so I use Geosplinter here, and then finish it off with an Cell Rock. Last up is Hoenn and Dragapult, definitely his strongest Pokemon. I was hoping that a Cell Rock would be enough here, but unfortunately he comfortably survives, and takes us out with the Dragon Pulse. It all now rests on my last Pokemon Electros. I know it has Levitate, so I go for Rock Tomb instead of Earthquake. He outspeeds us and hits a Dragon Pulse, but we barely hang on. Thankfully Rock Tomb doesn't miss, and it's enough to finish it off. We win the last match of the Elite Four by the skin of our teeth, and now all that's left is the champion. It starts off well with us one-shotting his first Pokemon Whiscash, and dealing a huge chunk to his next Pokemon Tentacruel. He has a priority move though, so we can't finish it off before being taken out, so unfortunately Bisharp has to take an overcharge, bringing us down to 1 HP before finishing off with an Earthquake. Lapras is next, and we can break its multiscale before falling to a Thunderbolt, so I send in the Electros, outspeed it and finish it off with an overcharge, paralysing us in the process. Crawdont revenge kills us with a Crab Hammer, so I send in Malarkey and one-shot with a Sky Uppercut. Second to last is Ludicolo, who just survives a Drill Peck, hits an Ice Beam which leaves us in the red, but then the Sandstorm from Electros takes us out. I send in Toxapex to finish it off with an Cell Rock, and now we're down to his final Pokemon Milotic. We get hit by a Raging Waves, which leaves us in the red, before I land a critical hit Poison Jab for good damage. I go for Geosplinter to give us the best shot of taking this thing out, and then go for a Cell Rock, which leaves him on the tiniest sliver of health possible. We then get taken out by another Raging Waves, but thankfully I still have one Pokemon left, and luckily for me it's Emolga, who is definitely faster. I go for one last Spectral Sap, and we've done it. We beat Wallace, and beat Pokémon Blazing Emerald 1.6, using only the new regional forms. This really was an interesting challenge, and like I said earlier, definitely one of the most competent teams I've ever put together. Tynamo started life being pretty weak, but Electros ended up being a valuable asset to the team. Emolga and Malarkey were both great too, but by far the biggest surprise of this team was Maractus. It really does go to show what a type change can do for a Pokemon. Thanks again for watching. I know it's been nearly 2 months, maybe even more by the time this video comes out, but I just really needed the break. Thank you all once again for your understanding and continued support. I am actually working full time again at the moment, so videos might take a little while to get back to the regular once a fortnightly schedule, but I aim to get there eventually. I'm thinking of branching out a little bit from challenge videos, as I feel the concept is getting a little bit tired. I'll still continue to do them, but I just want to try and do something else as well. What sort of videos would you like to see me look into? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, then please consider giving it a like. I've been gone for a while, so I think this video will need all the help it can get. So liking the video, commenting and subscribing if you're not already would be greatly appreciated. That's all I've got for you this time, so as always, thank you all so much for watching. Until next time.